How you doing, everybody? Hey there, mate. Or is it mate? Matt? Hi, Graham. Eugene, good to see you. Is the sound in video okay? Hi, Donald. Oh, wow, it is early in LA. How you doing, Stephen? Everything's okay, great. Hi, Kay, or Kai. Alex, good morning. Good morning. Sound is good, great. Anyway, we've got a number of things that I want to talk about this morning. Vincent, hello. Owen, hi, Owen. In a couple days, Owen, you ought to be getting your extra set of hands. Elois, how are you? Mark? Okay. Nigel, how are you? Marco? Good to see everyone. Okay, well, I'm going to get started. I like to say hello to everybody when you come, but we have sort of a big agenda this morning, so I wanted to get started. Now, the first thing that I wanted to talk about, and I by the way, too, I had not everything, but just about everything I had put on our Facebook page. What they call it? Le Groupe Lyrique, Étude number 2. Okay. Now, right now, Matthieu is working with Comblamine. That was how I was told to pronounce it. They're the case, the dial maker, and they had been the hand maker, but apparently it was just too much. I mean, they were trying to get them. I mean, not for us, but for everybody that they work with. Apparently, there's a lot of demand for them. One of the things that, in fact, I'd worried about was that we wouldn't be able to get them, and I hope we do. Okay, so what they said was that there's this company that they work with in Neuchâtel, and I probably said that wrong, but that's the name of the canton. The Geneva, everyone was in the Geneva canton on our first watch except one, and both of these are Weber and Comblamine are both in Neuchâtel. They're not too far from each other. They look like sort of in the same city space and around Fleurier. There's another name for the town, but I looked it up on the map, and I can see why Comblamine wanted to work with them because they're nearby, and apparently, and looking at some of their hands, they can do very good work. The picture that I had up on the little announcement was a picture of the sun and the moon, a day and night. And I tell you, if you can do hands like that, I don't think there's anything that we could do that would, throw them for a loop, to tell you the truth. So anyway, so that's the first thing. And I hope you take a look at them. I put the web address up on the up there for you, so you can take a look at them. Okay, any comments or about that? Hi, Ahmad, Vincent, Hader, Matthieu. Oh, thank you, Vincent. I never know whether I can pronounce anything right or not. Hi, Guy. It's all in the spirit of Lyrique to use the skills of those our collaborators suggest. Oh, and I couldn't have put it better. I really couldn't have. I looked the more I looked at them, the more I liked them. They have this wonderful. So there's on their building, they have this big sign that says Weber HMS. And I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not. And then below they had La Fabrication de Aiguille de Montreuil, which basically in Swiss French, probably in French as well, the hands on a watch are called needles instead of hands. They just use aiguille, which is the same as needles. And so anyway, the reason I thought that was important, that's all they do are watch hands. Now, the company we dealt with before, Fiedler, they're great, but as Owen pointed out, we sort of want to work with the people that, I mean, the Fiedlers in Geneva, the distance from Geneva to Fleurier and Neuchâtel is about the same as it is from like Los Angeles to San Diego, or from where we live to New York City. It's not very far. It's about an hour and a half drive. So, but still, I mean, it's better to have them in the same area, I think. Okay, let's see. Do we know the color of our dial and hands yet? No, this is something, by the way, too, I'm going to get to this in a second, and that was on Matthieu's schedule. And at that point, I think it would be a better time so we can go through this. It's a great question. I mean, neat question that you have is a good one. But we'll try to take it in the sequence here. Okay, the next thing was on the plate decoration. I had mentioned that the plate at 3 o'clock that was a little cockeyed. When I say 3 o'clock, I mean 3 o'clock looking at it from the back side. This would be the plate right here. This is the plate I'm talking about. When I talk about the 3 o'clock plate, it looks like it's over at 7 o'clock from this angle, but it's from the back. Usually if you flip over your watch, if you have one, it'll be there. And the idea was that we did talk about it. And some people said, really they thought it would be better if we just had Geneva waves that were straightened out for it. And that's okay too. There are 3 different options I think that we ought to consider. One is simply have a continuation of the Geneva waves. Another would be sort of one plate that matched the guilloche pattern or motif that's on the front. And another one is sort of these viney, leafy ones. Now, in talking to, I think it was Nicholas, it was either Nicholas or Matthieu, one of them, they said, well, you got to be careful because these, you don't have the same thickness on these plates that you'd have like on a balance cock where you see a lot of the German engraving that's done. So that's going to be another thing that'll limit it. But we'll see what we can get. But I thought it was, it's something that it's our watch. So so we can sort of talk about those things and make a decision. Okay. So anyway, Eugene, I'll get back to you. The manufacturer of fingers for watches translated. Okay. Or needles. Yeah. I feel very confident having River. Yeah, I do too. In fact, I even feel really great about it. When I saw this sort of day-night little hand that they made, I said, look at the detail there. I mean, you're talking about a little bitty watch hand. And you can see where the post is in the middle. So it's it's the kind of thing. In fact, I don't know. I don't think so, but it might be the one that Kadoki has on his Kadoki number 2. Anyway, but they clearly do good job. They do good work, and of course, I think as Stephen Yo pointed out, and as Owen pointed out, we got to listen to these guys. If they say these are the people we'd like to work with, that's one of the things I think. And for those of you who are new to this, is that one thing you learn about watches and watchmaking are all of these relationships. Okay, you don't want to put together, or you don't want to try to force a relationship where another one exists. I mean, if they've been working together for a long time, then that's great. So anyway, but you guys should know about those things. Okay. So anyway, on the plate decoration, any comments or thoughts on that? If we put the plate decorations to a poll, what I would suggest is to ask Matthieu or someone from Agenor. Yeah, Matt, that's exactly right. Yeah, like I said, we're very loose about polls. I mean, if there's something that is very clear that the overwhelming majority want on something, yeah, that sort of is a built-in consensus. But if you have like 2 or even 3 different groupings who feel very strongly about one thing or the other, then we got to work totally into a consensus on that, rather than saying, oh, well, okay, you only had 49%, you had 51%. So anyway, that's how we sort of we talk about things a lot. The way we could get a picture as accurate to the end result as possible. Well, here's, let me see, we'll get to that. All right, well, let me go on to the next one. Item number 3 is the hand styles. We really haven't talked about that too much. At one point, we were very high on sort of almost an off-the-shelf brigade type of hands, the hands with the little moons on the ends of it and so forth. But I think that a lot of people said, well, let's think about that, and that's okay too. So, I mean, again, we didn't have anything about the dial being of a certain type other than we want a guilloche, but we didn't have anything on colors. We didn't have anything on the actually even the motif of the guilloches. So, okay. Anything on hand styles? There's this one hand style that Matthieu referred to as a Lannan style, where they sort of have both hands have the moon, but they have an arrow at the tip of it. And that might be something we want to look at. It's sort of, I really like our observatory hand because it's so easy. Just at a glance, you can tell which one's the hour and which one's the minute hand. But we're sort of at a really early stage right now in terms of design, so we can kick around different ideas. Hater. Why not let Matthieu think of something special? Exactly. This is what we usually end up doing anyway. We have a big discussion, and then we all think, well, God, here we are paying this guy to do all of this stuff. Why don't we have Matthieu do it? Then he comes up with something, and we go from there. KV hands would be amazing. Yeah, they would be. I think, I think any hands we do ought to have sort of a Lyrique bump to it of some sort. But yeah, I think so. Matey would love to keep the observatory hands as the main design, but a unique iteration by Matthieu would be great. Yeah. All right. You guys seem to like that. I think Simon Britt has the Lannan hands also designed by Matthieu, I think. Oh, good. Okay, well, you guys seem to like that, so that's something that we'll tell Matthieu. Okay, now, how many of you, raise your hand, how many of you looked at that schedule? I posted the schedule that Matthieu sent me I posted it on Facebook. And so before I get started with what I want to go through on here, I want to get your opinions. Hi, Don. Any thoughts on having hands with two colors on the on e-hand, like Root and Lannon has? Sure. You know, we got right now, see, we have very much of an open idea. This is why we have these discussions. Take a look at it. Briefly scan the schedule. Okay, this isn't there will not be a quiz, but a lot of times, I just want to make sure that everybody's informed. I think that's important. We did that on the first one. And that I think is the more informed we all are, because we're all, paying a lot for this watch. And so I think we all ought to have, some, know what's going on all the time. By the way, too, don't feel bad if sort of the group goes left and you want to go right on anything. Just don't worry about it. It happened to me a whole lot. It happened to Hader. It happened to Owen. Not everything goes your way, but in the end, everything ended up the way we liked it. But, we don't have. I tried my best as a drama queen, but I'm just not very good at it. So, okay, let's see. Yeah, it does leave ample time. You're right. But if you see what Matthieu actually does, I swear he does way more. That was what he did for us. He said, "Oh, I'm going to do this." Then he did more. Then he kept doing more and more and more because he's really a very much of a perfectionist, and that's good. I mean, that's the kind of guy we want to have. Somebody who feels the same way we do about the watch. Have this watch, we're going to win everything at the Grand Prix. That I think is the attitude. Someone in the group mentioned the case back had a bit too much time allocated. Mate, you look at those numbers and stuff, and I don't take them as contractual. I take them as sort of guidelines to get things done. And sometimes something will pop up in one aspect or the other of it. And I think it's important to have a guide like this, but I don't think, it's something that should be so overthought. I'll put it that way. Compromise, we all compromise. I mean, it's not, I don't think what we work to, it's not so much working to a compromise as it is a consensus. I think, we look at this, because I've looked at things one way, I want it this way. And then the more we talk about it, things sort of gets to where we want. And like, like haters said, "Oh, we just asked Matthieu and he fixes it up for." Question: Are we keeping any of the dial design inspirations from Etude #1? I don't think so. I think we have so much that we don't have to think about. We don't have to think about the movement. We don't have to think about the case, which are the two biggest things that we had to think about before. And now we have the dial. We can just concentrate on it, the dial in the hands. And so, we got, that's going to be our major focus. I think a little on the back, I'm interested to see some ideas on that. I always think it's good to think, look at some ideas. I don't think we need anybody who says, well, you can't do it this way or you must do it that way. That's not going to work. What works is usually is like, we'll discuss it, and then let's ask Matthieu. He comes up with something. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah, Donald, I'm agreeing with you, Donald. And I think it's always we sort of think things through together where we do that. Okay, now that we've talked about that, I think there's the step two part. There's a lot of things that Matthew will do with the mood board and so forth. And Owen, we sent him one, and some of the other guys have been putting things about what they think would be some sort of patterns. They've been putting things up, and that's good. You know, we should think about those and look at those things. And the tailored guilloche. Boy, I don't know. What do you guys think about the tailored guilloche? The reason I'm asking this is that I looked at and I think Kirk mentioned this too. I looked at so many of the ones that they already have. I mean, it's not a matter of, you know, choosing from two or three. There are a whole lot of them. And a lot of them are ones that, that I just thought, wow, these are great. But on the other hand, having Matthieu do a completely new one, I think is great, but I think that if, like, for example, if there's one, for example, one that's already been done, and we say, okay, we're going to have this one for the main dial, the new tailored one, and then we're going to have this other one for the sub dial, but it's already there and it perfect fits with this, something like that. I think that, I don't know. Those are some thoughts. What thoughts do you guys have on that? Hi, Kay. I think we can find a ready guilloche model from the ones that we've seen. You know, I'll tell you, this is what my thoughts are on that. I'm the same way. I think we ought to be open to it. But if, again, it's sort of the whole idea of having a Lyrique motif, I think is really cool too. So those are but on the other hand, you don't want to have something stupid looking. There's some hands I've seen that people, that's all they can do. Everything else they have somebody else do, but they can do the hand. And they got these ugly looking hands. So I don't mind leaving it to the experts. I asked Chat GPT to formulate, to create a guilloche dial that consists of little LY, and it came through maybe a fun idea. Absolutely. We'll have the AI do it. Hey, Matthieu, we found somebody who can do it better. That's so funny. I think we ought to look at that, though, for ideas. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, put up a picture on our Facebook page. I would be happy with a combination of off-the-shelf patterns, but if the custom pattern is awesome. Yeah, this I think we have. If it's some pattern that just doesn't feel right, I'll go with one of those. You know, some combination. You can take, probably there are enough combinations. We would have a combination just using the off-the-shelf ones. It would be unique. Yeah, Stephen, I agree. Does Matthieu know when he can show us some samples of his design? Take a look. That's on the spreadsheet, Eugene. Take a look at the spreadsheet, and there's actually a delivery date and everything for those that we can take a look at them. See, the way that Matthieu works, I think, worked very well for our first watch, and that he starts off with the mood, and then he goes from there. So I think that's going to be important. So what color is your mood, Eugene? That's how we'll get the color. We'll say, I'm feeling green. I don't know. I think the color thing, I happen to like a lot of colors. But I got to tell you, I am terrible at mixing colors. In other words, if I put two colors together, they'll be ugly. I just know it. I had a friend, in fact, he and I did a book together years ago, and he had published some books on color combinations. And if I use those color combinations, things look great. He was an artist. He did fonts for movies and things like that. I mean, the guy was really good. He was good at that. It was, and so, that was how I appreciate colors, but I am not to be left alone with a color. My wife's really good with colors. She can combine colors very well, but it's not something that just anybody can do. A lot of people who think they're good at it, who aren't that good. I know I'm not very good at it, so that I wouldn't even volunteer or insist on a color. But I'm pretty good at saying, hey, yeah, that does look good, and have no idea why it looks good. What about numeral style, Arabic, Roman, sticks? Boy. I'm pretty much for Arabic, but we can talk about that. I like H. Moser dials a lot, but sometimes they're a little too minimalist, and so I have one number there or something like that. I don't know. I like the if we have a good looking font. Again, this is something that I think we ought to wait on for Matthieu to come up with that. We talked about that. I think I mentioned this before about the Brigade font, and what he told me was that you're not looking at one Brigade font. You're really looking at the designers, how they design a Brigade font, because they're all different. Which I think, maybe we'll have something unique. That. Did you settle on the CNC Guilloche? So far, we have pretty much. And Ahmed, the reason we settled on it, that was how we budgeted it. It's very hard to, we had to come up with a budget. You can't ask a bunch of people, say, hey, let's go make a watch and not know how much it's going to cost. We almost did that on the first one, but we even had a budget on that. But things changed. Now, this time around, we're hoping to get it a lot closer so we don't. So last time, at the last minute, we had to have all these little additional things. We need an additional $800, or we need an additional amount, simply because things changed, and through no fault of anybody's, prices just changed, and we were sort of caught off by it. But right now, we're going with the CNC. I suppose we could, if one of the things I said I'd ask about once we get the contract. Let's get the contract first. We don't have. That's the one group that we don't have the contract with yet, and we're going to need two of them now. One with Weber, and then the other one with Comblamine. So once we get those, then we can see if, like, for example, somebody says, well, they would really like to have engine turned, and some people have said that, and we could ask them, saying, look, we'll come up with an extra, for those who want it, can they pay an extra $2,500 or 2,500 Swiss francs and do it? We'll see. Could we ask Matthieu to make a few dial designs? Matthieu, this is if you look at the spreadsheet, that's in there already. That's what he's going to do. He'll be coming up with some dial designs that we're going to take a look at. See, this is why, first of all, it goes through, like, let's say that we had started off with, we want a sports watch or something like that. We want a movable bezel, a rotating bezel. And, that, then we'd get sort of one general style, and we'd have three different ones with sort of within that style. What we have here, with the focus on the Guilloche, we sort of want, I don't know, I guess of sort of an everyday watch that, in a way, this is an everyday watch too. And I think a nicer version the same thing would be an everyday watch plus something you could handle with a formal thing. Also, too, I think this one, I was looking at, I had another band that I bought for it. I bought an ABP Concept Paris band and sort of a brown gator strap. And I saw a picture of it, and you look at it and said, man, that looks like a totally different watch, different strap, different watch. And I think that we can do the same thing with our watch, with Lyrique Etude number 2, is that we're going to have certain kinds of things we can change. We can think about that too. I mean, that's one way to make it really individual. I got a very, this is a cherry colored Jean Rousseau, but if I put another kind of thing on it, it would change it. Vincent, that's a good idea. Are there some that do better than others? There might be. That's a good point. Eugene, it's on the it's on the Facebook page that we have. It's on the group Lyrique Etude number 2, and it's in a PDF file. I think it's in PDF. It's either it's either PDF or a spreadsheet. I forgot which one it's in. I think it's in probably a XML file. Okay. Okay, let's see. Yeah, right at the bottom now. I think this will answer a lot of those for you too, Eugene. It's the construction and research of 3 concepts of Guy-Loche, and the construction of 3 different dials, hands, and fonts, 3 different concepts. So Matthieu's going to do a lot. And he's not going to do, believe me, Matthieu is not going to throw 3 things together so he's, done with it. Because if he does, we would want 3 more, and he knows better than that. So I think we're going to have some really good choices, and we can, there may be some things that we can tweak one way or the other without screwing up the integrated aspects of it. Okay, let's see. So all of that thing's in there. So if you can take a look at it. And like I said, that's more to give us an idea of what Matthieu is doing and for him to have a sort of a roadmap, but it's certainly not something. There may be certain steps that takes 5 minutes and he's done with it. But there may be other ones that take a lot more time than he's scheduled for, but it just provides a sequence for that we can look at. Okie doke. That's pretty much it on the agenda that we have. What else do you guys, anything you want to know or talk about right now? Elosis, I'm very excited to see his first sketches, and then going from there and refine and refine and refine. Be careful. Okay. What we did there, we have to be careful about, there's a difference. Sometimes you can have a very good looking integrated concept and a design, and then you start adding things to it. We last time we used Homer Simpson's car design, and it was really funny. It's the most god-awful thing you've ever seen, because he just said, well, we'll add this, we'll add this, we'll add that. We've got to be careful about that, because I learned a long time ago is that you don't want to put things where they don't belong. Have you ever seen these guys? They get a brand new car and they start putting crap all over it, and it doesn't look very good, but they think it does. we've got to watch out for that. Presentation box versus sample box versus pouch. Ah, Stephen, pouch. Let's go with a pouch. I love the pouch. Okay. Let me tell you why. Here it is. Let me get my pouch out. The reason I like it is, and it's got a little card in here. I don't think you've seen this, but the watch wraps around here, fits beautifully, and this is a great little kind of thing. It's handy. You can put it in your pocket, and if you want to use it for carrying an extra watch. I keep it for having my extra. I keep it for my extra straps that I have. Right now, I have 2 extra straps for the Étude #1, but I would vote for this. And the other kinds of things, there's the price, everything about it is really cool. It says Lyrique on it. And we can change the color. I think, in fact, it'd probably be a good idea to change the color based on what color our watch is, so that we don't mix them up with the original. But that's my vote. But you guys might want to have something, look around, see what else there is. Hader was the guy who found that for us. I am so glad. He went out and looked at all kinds of things, and this is really a good quality pouch. Warranty card. Let me talk about a warranty card. we are the manufacturer, so to speak. This is our watch, and so we could make up a warranty. I don't know what we're going to do with a warranty card, but if you guys want to make a warranty card, I guess we could have one. So, here, we got a warranty card now, but I honestly do not know what we do with a warranty card. I don't think. I just, that's something if you want it. I mean, see, the thing is that we're used to the way business as usual has been done with the watch business. We are not business as usual. We are business as innovative, and quite frankly, we get a heck of a lot more watch for the money than any other thing that I know of. I mean, and I'm talking about, not twice as much, but a whole lot more. It might be a good idea to upload those spreadsheets. It's already been done, Meg. Okay. Yeah, that's already in. It's already uploaded. It's already on the. It's already on Facebook page. Does I don't know about a warranty. We never asked for one on the. I think if something goes wrong with it, they'll fix it. There were a couple that had some weird things happen, and there are 1 or 2 things that Agenhor would do. On the one hand, they would, you could send it back and have them fix it. Problem with that, and it's not Agenhor's fault, is that when you start sending watches back and forth, you get hit with the VAT taxes going and VAT taxes going the other way. The tax part, the custom part, that's the problem, not sending them there to have them fix it. What works a lot better is for them to figure out what the problem is and explain what needs fixing. And then if you need a part, they would send a part, and you could take it to a local guy and have him fix it. I would much rather do that. If anything goes wrong with this, believe me, I'm not sending it back to Agenhor. And there are too many watchmakers that say, hey, here, this is what they said needs to be done. Here are the parts that you might need, and that's it. I think that's not only with this watch, but any watch, have it done locally. There may be a warranty though, I think. But I don't know. We never bothered with that. A lot of times there's a lot of fascination with all the wrong things. We focus so much on the horology that was our major focus. And I think this time around, because the horology is already done and done quite well, I might add, our focus tends to be more on the design. That's why I depend a lot on somebody other than myself. I want to see a great design, and I'm not a graphic designer. I worked with designers for years. I did the programming, they did the design, and you don't want to see. If you look at most of Yahoo's websites, that's what happens when you have a programmer do it. They're awful. If you want to, same with a designer, you don't want to have a designer touch the code for the most part, and vice versa. We need to have singularity in the design. All components, hands, and so forth need to come together. You're right. Yeah, that I think is important. See, that doesn't mean that it's done without our having any say. And this is why the process that Matthieu goes through begins with the mood and go from there. I don't know if we, Eugene, I don't know if we can get that or not, to tell you the truth. I could ask. But if they say no, what are we going to do? By and large, I got to tell you something else, too. From the get-go, Agenor said, we are not in the business of servicing movements. And they've been making movements for years. And they're just, but I mean, if your watchmaker needs something that is, I mean, for example, if you take your Rolex into your local watchmaker and they don't have a Rolex, whatever is required, they can't get the parts for it. On the other hand, we can. And that I think is a big difference. And I think we really ought to consider that, because I've got to send off my FP Journe Chronometre Surveying for service, and my God, it's going to take forever. I know it. It'll take months, and I'll be without it for months. And I'd rather have, well, I don't know with that one, but I would be really easy if I could just go down to the boutique in New York and they could have some guy down there that would, service it for me. That's not the way they do it. I really think you got to, with all of this thing, we've got to keep thinking both. We just have to keep thinking about ideas and getting things done in ways that are workable for everyone, not just for us, but for everyone involved. And it's not easy. Stephen, yeah. I used to have, every time I have a great watchmaker, something happens to him. I found one. There's a guy, in fact, he went to the Rolex school. He's a local guy, and he can do anything. He's great, and I'm sure if I got him the part, but I think it's sometimes you have to do something, how to put this, offline, so to speak, because he's working at a store, and the store wants to make money, and they don't want him, I think, messing around with watches and things that weren't made and sold by their store, which makes sense. And so sometimes you say, well, this is something that maybe on the side we can make an arrangement. And you can get some really good watchmakers that way. Okay, all right, you get a warranty, guys. Is that going to provide a technical sheet? Yes, we have that. It's great. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up. That is more important, I think, than anything, because you can show that to a watchmaker and it's like reading a roadmap. But we do have that, and I'll be glad to share it with this group too, because we're using the same movement. That's the nice part about it. Yeah, well, we already have the technical details. That we have already. Please share. I don't know, Carrie. I'm going to share with some people, but not everybody. I'm not going to share with anybody whose name begins with a K, I decided. I mean, that thing is out there. I'll put it up on our Facebook page. We waited for that thing. I bugged Agenor for I don't know how long to get those, and then once we got it, it was done so well that it was fantastic. One of the most important things that you get with that kind of sheet, let me explain it. You have, I don't know if you've ever seen these sheets before, but there are different lubricants that you use on different parts. You don't want to put a light one where a heavy one goes, and you don't want to put a heavy one where a light one goes. And so they have all of these little symbols for the different types of lubricants. I mean, this is the kind of detail they gave us. I'll put it up there for you guys, okay? It's something that took us forever to get it, but once we got it, it was just, wow, this is fantastic. Okay, listen, I gotta get going now, but we can discuss this further on the. Are you listening, Kai? I gotta put it up for you guys. That's it. Period. With all the technical stuff you guys could want. All right. So listen, if you want to continue any of this conversation, use our Facebook page for that, and we can continue that. Okay. All right. Got to run. I got to talk to another group, our first group, and we're dealing with some things. And you guys have been great. Thanks for getting up. Some of you are up late. Some of you out in California are up very early. So all of you, thanks for coming. And like I said, if any kind of other things you want to bring up, just use our Facebook page. Okay. Take care. See you next week. We're going to do this every week at 10 o'clock New York time.